So there was a news announcement on Dtravel. Did anyone notice that? Did anyone see on Dtravel what was being said? What was happening? When was it announced? 19 hours ago. Look, read this. Countdown just started. Coinfest Asia 2025 is calling. Book your Bali stay August 21 to 22 through Dtravel, pay in crypto or fiat, and you might get $200 back in your pocket. Surround yourself with Web3 minds and make real connections while waking up in paradise. Right. Let's click on that. Right, so it just takes you straight to Bali. Oh, that didn't work. I don't like it when it doesn't work when I'm trying to show people. Why did that not work? Yeah, just vanished. All right, so it does work. It just, I don't know what happened. So yeah, this is Bali. So they're giving you a link and there's 100+ results. That's the whole of Bali. Wow. There's some really nice villas here. Fuck me. $35 per night for this villa. Are you kidding me? That's so cheap. No wonder people go to Indonesia. Look at that. Oh my God. That's luxury. Wow. That's amazing. That's incredible. Wow. So something's going on here, isn't it? Something's going on. If you go to the Dtravel Telegram channel, here Andrea announces some things. We just launched the new campaign for Coinfest Asia, one of the biggest crypto conferences in the world. It consists in giving $200 cash. So she's basically saying the same thing. Yesterday was the first announcement, but we will be delivering more updates regarding this. Okay. So you see Dtravel are active. Yeah, they're active. They're starting to get active in a public manner. The Coinfest Asia is a big deal, and I think Dtravel are going to be there. And that's a big deal. So I think there's more to come. Okay, that's the big news of today, and keep an eye out for that. Coinfest Asia, let's give it a follow. The world's largest crypto festival, Bali, 21st to 22nd of August. So there's some, it looks as though Dtravel is going to be represented in the Coinfest Asia, right? And obviously, because with Dtravel you can pay in crypto, we're partnered with them to provide possibly to provide that competition. I don't know what else is coming. Yeah, so there might be some more things coming. Let's have a look at their website. Actually, buy tickets. Let's have a look. Coinfest Asia. $150. A 2-day pass to Coinfest Asia. I haven't looked at this, so I don't know. There's a lot of big players there. Oh, look at those big names. One day we will be a big name. One day in the future. So I've been making some videos, and if you haven't watched any of my Dtravel TRVL videos, you can go to my YouTube channel and have a look. I have a playlist. It's called Dtravel TRVL Vibes. And if it's dark green, it's like more to do with the technical analysis. If it's light green, it's more to do with the fundamentals. I record all the videos live, unprepared, unplanned, and I just chat. chat and chat. And then I cut them over, obviously afterwards, I cut them into shorter videos so people can digest them. Now, what's going on with TRVL? What's going on with Dtravel? Well, TRVL is the native token of Dtravel, isn't it? And I've kind of been following this for a while. I restarted my live streams on the 6th of July, and since the 6th of July, the price of TRVL, it pumped to 60%, it pulled back, and now we're kind of back up. So we're kind of teetering around 50% increase in value from when I restarted my YouTube streams, okay? In the last stream, which was 2 days ago, which was on Monday, I talked about the point of control shifting, and you see what's happened. The price is now back above the point of control, and this is a significant moment, because you know the thing about the price, when it loses a key levels, you also lose the volume, the value area. Yeah, so when you look at the price historically, look at the previous range. Let's just kind of ignore all of this, ignore that, ignore the future. Imagine that we were still here in time back in February and the price was just crashing. Yeah, can you imagine when we were? Remember, we were here, we were like, could we hold the all-time low? But no, bam, and then we just lost it and it just dropped. Yeah, you remember that? Bam, 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 and just drop. And up to that point, the value area, which is the volume area, was different, wasn't it? Look, it was like that, wasn't it? And the minute you lose the value area low, which at that time was the all-time low, you're in trouble, because what happens next? You're in zero volume territory. There's never been volume at these prices before. And naturally, what you want to see is where the price is going to find support, where the volume is going to come back in to the market, where people are going to look to pick up the token back into the market. That's what you want to see. You want to see where people are going to start to reaccumulate. Yeah. And we had this crazy drop. And often what happens is that you do find support of the price. Yeah. But the value area doesn't actually shift. Yeah. You get that a lot in the markets, where the price goes down, whatever, but the value area stays exactly where it is, or maybe it comes down a little bit lower, whatever, and the point of control stays exactly where it is. And that's problematic, because if you create price action like that, you get into a situation where when the price does try to come back up, it has to get back into the value area, it has to get back above the point of control, and it often doesn't. It often rejects, and because you haven't put in enough volume, you haven't expanded the value area. Getting back into the value area is difficult, somewhat difficult. So the only way to achieve that is that as time passes and the price drops and it finds new lows, you put in volume, and the volume that you put in changes the value area. It moves and shifts the value area. And so you see, as time passes, you see, as we can move it, you see the value area is moving, it's changing. See, as time passes, you see that it changed. You see, just a few days, you see that the volume that comes in changes the value area. Yeah, so up to that point, look at that. Let me just hide these so you can see how it's changed. Yeah. Let me just delete that one. See how it moved down. And as volume comes in, you see how it moves. And then the point of control was there. See, it was higher up. And then as the price was dropping, it was dropping again, until we got to the July the 6th low. And as we came back up here, you see how it's moved again, So that's what volume does. Volume changes the profile of the value area. And so right now, when you're looking at the value area of the overall range, you can see that we are in the range. It's just the range has shifted. Yeah, the range is the value area, the range of the volume has shifted. And so it's good in a sense, because whereas before we were going to struggle to get back into the range, which was the previous all-time low, which was 2 cents. Now, because the value area is shifted, it's going to be less of a struggle because we don't have to get back into the range. Yeah, we're already in the range because the volume has changed the range. And what's actually happened is that at these prices, we've put in more volume in the whole history of this token. We've put in more volume in the last 3 months here than the whole history of this token put together in the last almost 4 years. This is a significant shift in the accumulation of this token. It's a massive shift. Yeah, the fact that we're in such a short period of time, we put in more volume at these prices than the whole history of this token. Yeah, it's a big shift in what's happening in terms of the volume. And it's good, actually. It's really good for us because that's what we needed. We need more volume, you know, for eventually you get like a balance between volume and liquidity and prices. And it just shows us that because we weren't getting enough volume at these higher prices weren't necessarily a correct reflection of the value of the price. But now we're getting the right value because of the volume. The volume is telling us these are the right prices. And going forward, it just means that we have some really clear resistance zones to contend with as we go up. Okay, and that's kind of what I wanted to get to. You have a golden pocket zone, yeah, which is the 618 area. And that corresponds with the value area high of this new volume, this new value area. It's above the previous all-time low, okay? But that's clearly going to act as some kind of major resistance zone. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that that's your resistance, but it also means that if you can get, or if we can get above the previous all-time low, which is roughly there, yeah, then that's actually really quite bullish. If we can break up to hit major resistance, that will be a major resistance zone. Golden pocket aligned with the value area high. But at the same time, we're back in the range. We're back into this previous range. We're back above the previous all-time low. And then we'd have to see what happens next, because ideally what you want is that to hold. We want to see that to hold. If that does hold, then this whole structure looks really nice for a run up, for another run up to aim for 9 cents. That's what I'm thinking in my mind at the moment, assuming that we can break back into above 2 cents. That's an assumption, and assuming that we can hold 2 cents. So therefore 2 cents becomes a major flip zone. I don't necessarily think it's going to resist the price on the way up, but we do have to hold it as support, because if you can't hold it as support, then you can then potentially end up with a lower high, and then you're going right back down, and then that's dangerous for the token. If you go right back down and you can't hold, and you just put in a lower high here without holding that 2 cents level as support, that becomes a little bit more dangerous for the tokens, because what we don't want to do is, after we put in these lows with all the volume here, we don't want to go and put in another low. We just don't want another all-time low. That's just really not an option, okay? Because I think people will struggle to buy back in if we go back lower, if we go low again. Yeah, I think people will just be wondering, okay, we just need this, but this needs to bottom out. They won't think that the bottom's in if the price goes up and doesn't hold support and it goes right back down. People won't think the bottom's in. And so what we need to do is create an environment in the charts where people think the bottom is in, or have confidence that the bottom is in. So we're kind of getting there right now. And I've been talking about the local price action for a few days. Yeah, I've been talking about this wave one and this wave one. And let me pull my Elliott waves up again. There. And it looks like we could be, is this a wave? It's hard to know, you know, it's always hard to know if the wave has begun. I'm inclined to think probably not. But I mean, until it happens, I don't know. Maybe we're still in some kind of ABC corrective mode. I gave two options, and none of them were correct, but effectively we came back down to this 1.618 to find support, which held, and I talked about that. We're back above these VWAPs, which is really good. We've got this anchored VWAP from the pivot low on the 6th of July rising up, which is good because it means that volume is coming in, and that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to see volume, okay? And so that's going to be our natural support line as the price ascends. I don't know how this is going to play out. Like, again, I have no idea, but this could be an impulsive move. This could be like a first wave one. Yeah, it could be. It's a tricky one. It's tricky. It looks, to me, it looks like we're getting strong accumulation, which is changing the corrective path here. Actually, it's more, it feels more, it still feels corrective, but it feels quite like really bullish corrective price action here. Like we're getting, it's almost like a running flat, or the correction is, the whole thing is still correcting, but the price isn't going, like it's a weird zigzag. The price isn't going down anymore. It's going up. It's correcting upwards. That's what it feels like. See how the price is just slowly grinding up. 1, 2, maybe there's a 1, 2, 3, maybe there is a 5 wave move here with the first wave. Maybe that was it, which kind of, I'd have to change this ABC type corrective move here. Maybe that was your ABC. It's hard to know. It's very liquid, so it's hard to know. ABC, ABC. I'm not sure. It's a really weird correction, so I can't really tell. It'll be a lot easier when we actually start impulsing. But let's just say hypothetically the correction is over and we've started to pump, which is kind of what I'm thinking, but I just can't work out the corrective move here just yet. Right, I'm just going to assume that the pump has begun. Yeah, and when you're looking at the daily time frame, there are some indicators. You've got increasing volume, increasing prices. I like that. I like increasing prices, increasing volume. I told you before on the 3-day chart, we have really bullish red volume here, really bullish because you got really high volume and the price failed to close underneath the previous 3-day candle low, and it took the lows here. Really bullish. I talked about that 2 days ago, and after I talked about that really bullish candle, look, the price has come up. How much has the price come up since I was talking about that? I talked about it on Monday, didn't I? It's up like 2%. It's not up crazy. I was talking about the weekly. I was saying this is really bullish volume on the weekly because you got red volume, and look, the price from the weekly, I was talking about really bullish volume, and the price is already up to 2.5%. So yeah, let's just say and you can see there's quite a lot of volume coming in here at these prices, and that's what we want to see. Let's just say the impulse has begun. Yeah, let's just assume that it's begun. It kind of takes me back to the original idea that I had, which is this inverse head and shoulders. Okay, and I think for a market structure change, we just need to take out that high. It's really important. Oops, did that wrong. So from the pivot low to there, I'll just take it to the pivot low there, even though I could probably pull it a little bit higher. You can see that the 1-to-1 of this move takes us to that pivot high, just a shade underneath it. That's what I want to see. If you take out that high on the weekly time frame, that's a higher high confirmed. So you have two higher highs in a row with a higher low. So what actually ends up happening is that's your high, that's your first higher high. This is your, oops, shit, incorrect. That's your lower low, i.e. the all-time low. All-time low goes to a higher high. Why is that a higher high? Because this was a lower high, this one here. That's your first higher high. This is now at the moment potentially a higher low, okay? And the only way that you know if this is a higher low is if the price can take out that pivot to put in a higher high. And so really all eyes are on this now, right now. That would be on TRVL from the current price, an increase in value of 55%, okay? My eyes are fully locked on whether we can put in a higher high here. Yeah, if we put in a higher high here, we've changed market structure on a weekly time frame basis. A weekly time, that means then you'll be expecting higher lows, higher highs all the way until the market structure changes back to bearish. That could take months, okay? And so that kind of could give up. And so then we have to see how we break this high, because there's two ways to break this high. You can break it by just smashing through, or you can break it by just taking the liquidity and pulling back. There's two ways to break it. No one knows how we're gonna I do expect that we are gonna break it. I am expecting that, but I don't know how we're gonna break it. I don't know the volume. We have to look at the volume and see how that's gonna happen, and how that's gonna reflect on the price action. But let's just kind of hypothetically go through the both options. One option would be here, like you go up, you find resistance here, consolidate a bit more, and then you have a final push for a break. You take the high. So you have your little five, you have your 5 waves finished here. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. And then you're looking for a corrective and you're finding support. And we don't know how far this can pull back, but then you are looking at what I was talking about, which was more like an inverse head and shoulders type pattern. And then we have to, if we do form a right shoulder like here, then we could have a breakout to the upside, and that would be a really nice push up in back into the range, which would be really bullish, targeting about 3.5 cents. But the other bullish, kind of real bullish scenario here, more of a bullish scenario here, would be actually a double bottom, just a straightforward double bottom with a clean neckline there. Okay, and just ignore that left shoulder. So not an inverse head and shoulders, a double bottom. And so if you just go up and you just break it, like literally break it, then you could kind of come back for a neckline test and then smash through for a double bottom. And the neckline test doesn't actually have to come back to the neckline. It just has to come back to some back test, some kind of level to find support before it continues. And so you're looking at a possible double bottom situation or scenario here. And I'd like to see if we do get a smash through, then probably the target for that will be the previous all-time low, which at the moment with this fib extension is the 1 to 2, the 1 to 2 of this fib extension. So the 1 to 1 would take us to this pivot high. The 1 to 2 would take us to the previous all-time low. Okay. And the 1 to 3 would take us to the value area high of this new volume range or value area that we've created. So for me, those are the right, in the current context of where we're at now, those are the 3 kind of key areas: the 1 to 1, the 1 to 2, and the 1 to 3. And volume will be the biggest indicator of what happens next. To see how, right now we're seeing really bullish volume, so I do expect this to break up. I don't know if we're going to form an inverse head and shoulders or just a straightforward double bottom. Whatever happens, we'd like to see a little back test. That would be nice. And it's always nice to see a back test. And in this context, probably a back test off the breakout of the neckline would be the best place. If we get a little back test here and then we have a continuation move, you'd have to see volume. And then we have to get back into the range. I think it's likely that we just get back above 2 cents quite easy. I think it's likely. I think it's likely we just rally through to 3 cents, or the 1 to 3, And again, that's the 1 to 3. And again, if I correspond that with what I was talking to you guys before earlier, which was the golden pocket, then you have a really strong area for resistance. Yeah. And so what I would like to see next, if possible, is a breakout to the upside, targeting 3 cents, 3.2 cents. That's kind of what I'm thinking next. I don't necessarily think we're going to go straight through. You never know, huh? No one really knows. I don't necessarily think we're going to go straight through like that. I think it's more likely that you get resistance, and then if you get volume to take us up, then you're looking for a back test to go up. So people will take profit into there and the price still goes up. And then actually those people who took profit will be looking to get right back in when they find support after a bit of a consolidation. Or you get a rejection and the price comes down, and then the people who took their profit will be looking to kind of buy back in, roughly starting at about 2 cents. Probably that would be the beginning of where they look to take profit. So look to reaccumulate. The first fib was 236. And the 618 actually is shade under 3 cents. So we'd have to see how strong the push is. But ideally you want it to go to the value area high, which is a shade above, which is at 3.2 cents. But we have to see how that plays out. Whatever happens, the first fib will be back at the previous all-time low. But I think that would be quite nice. It would be quite nice if we can do this with a corrective move all the way back to the all-time low and find support there for some real strong volume and accumulation. And this whole structure here is just a deviation from the lower part of the range. Then ideally what you want to do then is you just want to put more volume has to come back in here. If you could put volume back in here to hold that low, then we have a chance to go up and then just continue. And then that could be your first wave. You have a corrective move here, ABC, and then you have the first wave, the second wave, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Maybe take out that higher wave 4, and then maybe you just go for a final push for a wave 5 of wave 3, taking out 17.5 cents. Okay, that's kind of how I'm seeing it, but we have to see how this plays out, because obviously we have a major time pivot at the end of December or mid-December. And then we have to see what happens with the rest of crypto at the beginning of next year. Is there going to be another crazy alt season in February, March to create this environment? But whatever happens, if we do get back into the range, you have to hold the range low there. It's really important. If there's not enough liquidity to hold the range low, then you lose it again. Then actually this becomes really, really sour. Just lower highs, lower lows, and you're just heading right back down again. And so that's going to be a real tester to see what the sentiment is like, if people do reaccumulate or not. Yeah, and a lot of people might not, and that's the danger. A lot of people might go, this is it, the end of the bull market, no more crypto, we hit December, whatever, wherever we hit, however, whenever we get there. It could be next month or it could be in December. But let's say I'd rather it be next month. Actually, I'm actually thinking it'd be nice if we can get up to that period, that level of 3 cents by the end of next month, by the end of August. Just in a really get there fast, and then that will give us time to reaccumulate. And that's kind of what we need, a little bit of time to reaccumulate so that we can have a push up for December. So this would actually be more like this. The correction will be slightly different, so let me delete it. Then push up. Yeah, I don't know. I like to see that taking us to 17.5. That's kind of the conservative viewpoint right now that I'm looking at. And obviously the most non-conservative would be a combination of high value news items, venture capitalist investments, takeover bids, shit like that, Coinbase listings, Binance listings, and then the whole thing changes if that happens. Yeah, everything changes if we get into a situation where you start getting crazy announcements, news announcements, and this becomes a hot bit of property, hot stuff, yeah, or a kind of some kind of massive partnership with who knows, like you never know, you never know who out there might be looking at Dtravel, you know, execs from booking.com or whoever, Expedia or whatever, Verbo might be looking at, but Dtravel and going, hey, we want a piece of that pie, we want to invest in the future. And they might be looking at what we're doing and they might be going, yeah, we want to be part of that. And so you just don't know. And this is what I keep on saying, this is a long hold. Yeah, this is a decentralized network that's going to continue growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. Like there's no limits to this. All we can do is take chunks out of every other Web2 centralized business, because people can be on Dtravel and be on all their other platforms too. It's not exclusively mutual, but the benefits of Dtravel are significant, yeah, and they're going to become even more significant in the future. So that's kind of my right now it's looking quite good. Yeah, I'm just looking like, look, we held that level, we're above the point of control, we're getting really strong accumulation here. People are clearly interested in buying at these prices. These are good prices. We're still underneath 1 cent. So I don't know if we're going to get cheaper TRVL in the future. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. I think it's unlikely. And, you know, ETH is pumping and Bitcoin's at all-time highs and capital is coming back into crypto. It's all risk on. And America's going to decrease their interest rates. You're going to get big, huge transfer of value back into risk on assets, and so many good things are happening with Dtravel. I've announced all of them that I'm allowed to, and actually I've only, and it's an unofficial I'm announcing it unofficially, but Dtravel haven't announced what I've announced, you know, so there's a lot more that I haven't announced or haven't said that I know it's happening, and we're starting to see. So about this Coinfest Asia, I knew about it already, and I didn't say anything, and I knew about it. And so there's a lot of things I know it's coming. And so here I am telling people, yeah, this is a good buy. So just do your own research and not financial advice. Right. So that's my TRVL update. If you want to get involved, then please join our Telegram. Everyone is involved. Everyone is welcome, sorry. We have a channel here for the token. We have a general channel here for everything. And here on this general channel, you can see new listings and new bookings. So today there was a new booking here. See that? And this is new users and new booking site. This is a new booking site. So this is a brand new property that's joined our network called Soulful Dtravel. Look, your launchpad to discover Rio. And look, they've got 3 properties. So someone has added 3 of their properties on Rio. They're Airbnb. They've got an Airbnb profile. You see that? See that? And yet they've decided to launch on Dtravel as well. See that? Because of the benefits that we give people for being on our network. And one of those benefits is TRVL, you know, and TRVL is a future gem, it's a future gold mine, it's an appreciating asset. We're just at the lows right now. It's not a big deal. It just gives people a really nice entry to accumulate right now and just hold for the long term. There's going to be a really amazing staking program going to be launched soon, just in time for pump season. And then beyond that, you know, Dtravel will become a DAO, so your TRVL will give you voting rights for everything in the future, and you want to be part of this, you know, like you want to be part of this. This is good. This is really good. Dtravel came down to the lows of 2.1 million market cap and survived. Yeah. And so now it's up only. That's what I think. I really believe that. We have some technicals to get through, but ultimately let's go to all-time highs. Like, that's what I'm thinking, but we have to see how this plays out. I know the Dtravel team are very heavily invested in all-time highs. I know they're hungry for all-time highs. The leadership change was part of that transition from a previous mantra, previous ideology, which was, let's just grow the network and it will happen whenever it happens, 5 years, 10 years, like really no rush. And now the new leadership, their focus, their tunnel vision is on this bull market, crypto, all-time highs. This is the moment that we can grow and expand and explode and become significant, become real players in the short-term vacation rental industry. So this is the future. I think this is the future. I'm really enthusiastic about that. So if you like the video, like and share it. I really appreciate that. And